There are two things certain in life. Aaron Neos is not getting a reprint, and Jeffrey Epstein didn't. The Aaron Neos drama has been confirmed. And now, all of X, all of YouTube, yesterday has been players talking about Aaron Neos and the lawsuit against Konami. You heard me right. Konami had a lawsuit against them against the Aaron Neos image, and that is because another artist had a very, very similar hero that was made before Aaron Neos. So that is what has actually led to the lawsuit and the missing Aaron Neos reprints, as well as it in any of the games as of recently, because Konami doesn't want to use that image. So all of yesterday has been hype about Aaron Neos, and I'm sorry it took me a day to get this video out, but here we are. And now, for those that are not familiar, Air Neos has not been printed for quite some time, and is because there's been a pending lawsuit with Konami from another artist, okay? And like we just mentioned, it's because the images look similar, and the other guys came out first, okay? And then not only that, but Takahashi was actually at a convention where that artwork was debuted, so rather he copied it intentionally or unintentionally, because sometimes we know we get a little inspired by things and don't even remember where the inspiration came from. It happens when you're a creator. But these images did look similar, and since they put it on a product box, on posters, in the show as a main hero, there was a lot to dispute in that lawsuit. And I do believe there's a post as well as a video created by the original artist, so I do urge you to go check that out so you can see the primary source yourself. But they did discuss a little bit about what the lawyers were allowing him to say, as well as that he doesn't mind if there would be a reprint for the Air Neos in the future. So do keep that in mind. But obviously, I think it would have to have a little bit different of artwork, whether it's a different suit, a different hero altogether, which I don't think Konami's going to do, or in my honest opinion, we could potentially have a contact fusion image between Neos and Air Hummingbird. You don't need the hero itself. I understand it's cool, but in some form or fashion, we could definitely get a reprint out, unless Konami just wants this to be one of the reserved cards that never sees a reprint in the game, which I guess if you're an ulti, you kind of want that. And then when talking about stolen art, I actually have to mention a fun fact that this is actually around the same time era that we had the Mad Lobster issue. And now, if you're not aware of that, Mad Lobster is a vanilla card that was released kind of in the GX era, and then later on, it had a completely different artwork, and players were extremely confused. But when we dug into it, we found out that the original artwork was, again, kind of stolen from a different artist, kind of few touch-ups done, maybe the background was swapped out, but then it was put into the packs, and then it was discovered. So Konami quickly went in, changed the artwork altogether, shipped that out in the newer packs, and now we have two images of Mad Lobster. And now I don't believe this is what Konami's going to do with Air Neos. Obviously, this card has not been distributed in quite some time, so it's very different than Mad Lobster, and then also it was a main character's card in a show, so very different. But in my opinion, it is just a little ironic that around this time area, we had all these artists kind of disputes coming up with legal issues, and I guess they're running dry on ideas, so there's that. But Air Neos could get a reprint in the future, especially when the other artist is like, it's not the card itself, it's just the image. So hopefully, we do see that reprint. And if you think we're going to see that reprint, definitely comment that down below. And if you got ultis and you don't want to see one, comment that as well. But I have to mention, while most players were hyped about the Air Neos information being leaked out, this did lead to quite some drama in the community. Of course it did, right? So we got to go over that here, because honestly, it's just something little bit too much we got to discuss, okay? So for the first bit of the dispute, this has actually been a theory in the Yu-Gi-Oh community for quite some time, okay? And I do believe it potentially originated over in the OCG. I can't confirm that, but all I know is that me and a couple of our friends have definitely been like, well, wait a minute. I've heard about legal disputes with the Air Neos, so was this like not a confirmed thing? And obviously it wasn't, okay? So somewhere along the line, people have had theories that there was a legal dispute about Air Neos. It has been floating around the player base for quite some time. But when it was mentioned yesterday, it turned into heated arguments of people like, oh, you didn't know anything, or the people with that theory were just liars and knew nothing. even though they were proven correct years later. So I don't know. It's just, I think that's a very dangerous territory to go into. I understand having things confirmed is a very, very important thing, especially when you're talking about reprints and other things to that nature, or legal issues. It's very nice to have that confirmed. But I do believe it's also important that some people with some solid theories floating around, especially one confirmed, it gets addressed as like, well, maybe that guy knew something. So it's like whoever floated that originally, me personally, I want to know who that is, okay? So there's the first one. And then the second one was some players simply don't think these two images warrant a lawsuit, or they are not the biggest fans of the way the patented like method has worked out in this favor, okay? So that has actually led to a little bit of a debacle with some players in the community, whether they're some bigger named ones or someone basically stating that they did not actually think that this warranted a lawsuit at all, and that, you know, they think that it was just kind of a game system. And this led to, again, some decently named people, not going to mention them, but it was a couple kind of dogpiling onto one player simply for just not agreeing. And a lot of the comments anymore, it's not even like you're wrong, here's why. It's you're wrong. You should think about what you've done before you comment here, or you're like, you should think about how dumb you sound before you comment here, and just honestly, just ignorant stuff. So I'm just gonna say, like, I know our community can't like agree on anything, and that's okay. And we have a lot to disagree on, whether it's like Max C being unbanned, or cards going to one, or the way the reprints happen. We have a lot to disagree on. And honestly, a lot of that stuff is very unimportant. And it's like, okay, if we disagree on it, that's fine. But when it gets to the point where it's like you got the bigger named content people essentially like, you're not allowed at the cool kids table unless you regurgitate everything we say and believe everything we tell you. And if there's a theory floating around, those people are dumb unless it's confirmed by me. So that's just what's been going on in the community, and I gotta mention it because honestly, it's just a little annoying. And I've been in this bit for quite some time, and this isn't how it used to be. So I hope this isn't the route the online community takes in the near future. But there's definitely some drama I wanted to mention because, again, whenever you got such a cool reveal, and honestly, again, for the theory people who were kind of like, well, wait a minute, I thought this was already a thing. Like, that was cool. It got confirmed. You know, they got confirmed what they needed, and people now know why Air Neos hasn't been reprinted. And yet still leads to some arguments and just not something you want to see in the community. And now I hate getting into any of the drama, but again, I just had to mention it because it was getting a little hard to watch, okay? And I think a lot of players do feel the same, especially for the ones that have been in this community for quite some time, okay? But that is enough of that, and the main goal is definitely be cool with one another, all right? Because this was actually a really, really hyped kind of announcement that we got. A lot of understanding, a lot of clarity of why things have been happening, and this should bring more excitement than dispute to the player base of Yu-Gi-Oh! And again, do you think Konami's going to reprint Air Neos? Yes or no? Definitely comment that down below, even if it's a hell no, because you got those ultimate rares. But most importantly, guys, as always, stay safe, have a good night, and suck it, nerds.